When we call him award-winning, that's an understatement. Harlan has won more awards for his 58 books, more than 1,100 stories, articles, essays, and columns than any other living fantasist. His film criticism has been appearing for the last 8 years in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction, and like our commentaries here, is called Harlan Ellison's Watching.
I now take my Harlan Ellison, the critic cap, and I put it on, and I go back to one of the previous commentaries that I made in which I said that I was for hire. You know, send me your goods, send me your poor, your huddled masses of goods, and I would advertise them for you on the Sci-Fi Buzz commentary. Well, in fact, everybody has just been wonderful. You've sent me some of the most useless, worthless, and offensive trash I have ever seen. However, a few good things have stuck to my fingers. For instance, this absolutely beautiful Captain Marvel Shazam Lightning Bolt shirt, which was sent to me by a company called Graffiti. Every month, they issue T-shirts. They've got comic T-shirts of the Max and of Shadowhawk. They also do the Doc Savage posters. And here's the Sandman T-shirt. Very, very nice T-shirt for those of you who follow the Sandman. Okay, that takes care of that. Now, this is interesting. You're going to love this. The camera's going to come in on this. There's a company called Dynacom, D-Y-N-A-C-O-M-M, and Dynacom has just issued something absolutely terrific. They have issued 2 sets, stick with me, camera, 2 sets of trading cards of the artwork of Kelly Freas. Now, Kelly Freas is the cover artist who has done covers for, I don't know, 40 years or more. A while ago, I mentioned to you a reference book on science fiction and fantasy. Every once in a while, they do an encyclopedia. I'll take the hat off now, you know who I am. They do an encyclopedia of science fiction. Many years ago, they did this book, 1979. This was the Science Fiction Encyclopedia, which was edited by Peter Nichols. There is a new edition of it, but in the meantime, between that one and this one, there was in 1988, Professor James Gunn did the new Encyclopedia of Science Fiction. And Jim Gunn is a very, very fine man. And my entry is spectacular because it was written by a writer who knew something about me. And in fact, gee, how's that for amazing? I actually opened to my own ugly face. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not terrific. It's got a lot of errors. It's got a lot of stuff. It's outdated. But the book that you must get, absolutely, it hasn't been published over here yet except in a very limited hardcover edition, which is what this is. It's being published by St. Martin's, who picked it up from England. This is the Encyclopedia of Science Fiction. This is the update by Peter Nichols and one of the most outstanding critics in the field, John Clute. And this is the killer. Now, there are errors in this one, but they are so conscientious that they've already issued, before it comes out in trade paperback in this country, they've already issued new data, typographical errors, factual corrections, and miscellanea. You get this along with the book. That's how conscientious they are. There's entire selections on Frankenstein, on flying saucers, on The Fly, Food of the Gods, Forbidden Worlds, Islands, Lloyd Arthur Eschbach, Eschatology. I get 2.5 pages in here. I love it. And it's correct, except for a few small errors. They do, for instance, make an error with Alan Brennert, and they say that his wonderful book, Kindred Spirits, is a juvenile. It is not. It's an adult novel. This is a terrific book for you to get, the Encyclopedia of Science Fiction. It'll be out in trade paperback sometime a little later this year. Now, I have done that job. I get to keep this book, and I don't have to spend the $75. You see, you thought I was kidding when I told you, critics make out, we make out. The entire line of chorus girls from the Sands came knocking at my home door just last night. And all would have gone well except my wife beat the crap out of them. Okay, as you can see, if you look closely at my tie, friends, this is the Tasmanian Devil. This is a microphone. Ignore it. But the Tasmanian Devil is on my tie because I'm going to rant and rave and scream. I seldom do that, as you know. I'm a person of quiet demeanor, but I feel it is time to talk about the impending implosion in the science fiction market. Now, a few years back, when there was a huge horror genre, and there were 256,414 horror novels being published every month, all of which were sort of sickly clones of Stephen King's books or Dean Koontz's books, I predicted in my column, Harlan Ellison's Watching, after which these commentaries are named, in the magazine of fantasy and science fiction, I indicated that there was going to be a terrific implosion, that the field could not support all of that bad writing and all of those writers writing vampire stuff. I mean, I got to be very candid with you. Vampires bore the tuchus off me. I don't understand. I mean, once you suck the neck, what is there left to tell the story about? In any case, some people like reading about vampires. Let them go. They also like chafed thighs. This is not my problem. I said the field was going to implode and that a lot of people were going to find themselves in the water as the boat sank. That only those few writers who were really and truly good writers would be able to survive, would be able to float, would be able to swim away, and most of the others would have to, if they wanted to survive, start converting over to psychological novels, novels of terror, mysteries, or combinations thereof. Well, I was roundly pilloried. One agent, a very nice young woman, but a little self-serving, said, "What do you mean by that? I just sold a book for $1,500 to Zebra Paperbacks." Folks, my first novel back in 1955, 56, I got $1,500. So that was no big deal in 1992 or whatever year it was. And as you can see now, there's almost no horror line left. When you go into one of the big bookstores. There are a lot of books that look like it. They're being converted over. The only real line that's left is Abyss Books, which is published by Dell. Well, the same thing is about to happen in science fiction. Yes, it's finally come to pass. Sodom and Gomorrah are about to fall. A lot of people who have been writing, how shall I put it delicately, caca, are about to find themselves in the water with no boat. Even people like Piers Anthony and Jack Chalker, who have made a fortune with these endless trilogies and tetralogies and series after series after series, even they are not getting the kind of money that they got just a few years ago. Everybody is scampering and scrabbling for a new birth. And what's happening is a major weeding out process. Yes, I am ranting. Yes, I am raving. Yes, I am the Tasmanian devil telling you that all of this crap writing that has butchered our field and has made it the lowest possible level of reading in the last 5-10 years is about to be weeded out. A great many people are going to find themselves unemployed. But this is good for humanity, because now perhaps they will go take up electrical wiring, they'll get a job as a plumber, and as I have said many, many times, when your toilet overflows, you don't need Dostoevsky coming to your house. Mark my words. The Lollipop Guild. This is the Gnome King of Oz. This is Tick-Tock of Oz. This here is the Scarecrow of Oz, and you know, of course, the Tin Woodman of Oz. Now, I'm standing here in front of part of my Oz collection. Now, the reason I'm standing in front of it is to talk to all the parents out there whose children have become hopeless dope addicts, who have piled up their cars doing 180 miles an hour while drinking beer, or who have picked up some hideous alien disease. Part of the problem for you folks is that you're allowing television to be your babysitter. You talk about the evil and the violence on television. Well, that's why the off switch is there. But you're too lazy to go and talk to your kids. So what I'm going to try to do here today is suggest an alternative. I don't care how old your kids are, whether they're 2 years old, 5 years old, 12, 15, or 17. You sit them down, or possibly nail them to the chair if they move too fast, and you read them the Oz books. One after another, you read them the Oz books. This is The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This is actually a leather-bound edition of it. This is not the original. I could not afford the original. But it's a wonderful book with all of the original illustrations by W.W. Denslow in it. And all the rest of these are Oz books. All of these and all of these. And there are new ones being written all the time. There were a whole group of them that were written by a woman named Ruth Plumley Thompson. Many of them are out in paperback. And they're available to you. And so you can even read about Jack Pumpkinhead of Oz right here. And I'll tell you why it's a good idea. Not only are these books wholesome, not only do they teach proper values, not the kind of bogus family values that the Republican Party tried to sell us, but really, come with me, come this way, really terrific family values. The kind of family values that I think they're going to try to instill in the new Oz theme park that is proposed in Emporia, Kansas. This is an artist's conception of the Emerald City that was done for the Landmark Corporation. They're the people who did the Back to the Future ride over at Universal Studios. And they are talking about having an Oz land, an Oz theme park in Emporia, Kansas. And you could take your kids there. Either way, imagination is what we're talking about. The harsh realities of life that kids have to face every day are not going to go away. They need your attention, and they cannot be permitted to be turned over to the tube for education. The tube is not Oz. The tube is hell. Boy, I hate being wrong. I really hate being wrong. I mean, I'm wrong as often as you guys are, but it bothers me. I'm one of these anal perfectionist kind of guy. Once upon a, this has nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about, but once upon a time in Chicago, I had to do a radio controversy, a dialogue with a minister on pornography. I, of course, was pro, and he was anti, of course. And somewhere in the middle of the conversation, I was talking about the fine points of this problem, and I said, the minutiae of this situation, and he and the host looked at me, and they said, the what? And I said, you know, the minutiae, the small, and they said, do you mean minutia? Well, I'd never heard anybody say it. I'd seen it written, and of course I didn't speak Latin, so I didn't know the word was minutia, and I said yes, and I felt like such a jerk. That's why when we began these commentaries, I told you that I would tell you when I was wrong, and if you caught me out at it. And this is not strictly speaking I was caught out wrong, but I come very late to something called Quantum Leap. And Quantum Leap, I just never watched it very much when it was on network. Now it's on the USA Network, which oddly enough is the parent outfit of the Sci-Fi Channel. And I want you to understand that this is not a hype for them. They didn't ask me to do this. I come to do this to talk about Quantum Leap because I caught a wonderful episode in rerun the other day on USA Network. It was about, it's where Scott, I guess it's Bakula, is that the way it's pronounced? Scott Bakula goes back to the 50s and finds himself a member of the Ku Klux Klan and doesn't want to be, and has to teach his son that bigotry and racism are bad. And I watched this hour, even in its edited, what they call stripped form, and it was absolutely astonishing. I thought it was one of the best lessons I had ever seen given on television about something like racism and bigotry, which is so deeply ingrained that most people suffer from it and don't even know. And I had begun watching Quantum Leap during the last season and was very much impressed by it. I'm sorry it's gone. I'm really sorry it's gone. And I'll tell you why, not so much for the story. Stories can be told in almost any format. But today, very few people have a sense of time. They have a very small sense of tick-tock, tick-tock. What they have a sense of is right here and right now. It's as if the world began this morning and will end tonight. They don't understand that they are all linked into a long chain that goes all the way back to the dawn of time and goes all the way forward to the end of time. And so they're careless and they're callous, and they litter and they hurt each other, and they do all the stuff that you're advised by all the best religions not to do. And here was Quantum Leap, this show that said, time is a mesh, and you are trapped in that mesh, and it goes on forever, and what you do has repercussions, and you are not alone. You are not alone in that boat going down the river. And I guess I'm sorry to see a show that has that serious and wonderful a point gone. And so, like a dolt, I come late to say, goodbye, Quantum Leap, and stay in syndication and rerun forever, because the human race really needs it.